So are we actually going to do this? Yeah, we are. Let's go. Hello, my friends. I hope you're doing amazing. I'm excited for this conversation today. And I think it's time we had it. It's something that has been a really impactful shift for me over the past few years and really has made a significant impact in the way I show up for my business, in the way I think about my business, and the way I lead my business, and also the results that my business is giving me. And that is the CEO shift. And going from an entrepreneur who's trying to build a business and figure things out to feeling like an empowered CEO with business strategies and a mindset and confidence that shifted me out of DIY to leading with authority. It's not natural. It's not something that we just start out with. And everybody has to go on a journey to this point. We don't go from in the corporate world from entry level to CEO in one fell swoop, unless you're maybe the child of the CEO. But in business ownership and in entrepreneur life, we start out with just, I'm figuring it out. I got to do all the things. I wear all the hats. I have to do all the things. And we operate from, I'm seeing if this will work. That's the problem. We start out with, is this going to work for me? Will this make me money? And that's where we all have to start. But the problem is we stay there. We stay in playing mode and figuring it out mode and playing small because our thinking is small and that is keeping our business small. So, what am I actually talking about when I talk about being an empowered CEO and shifting into this mindset, this way of being in our business? Being an empowered CEO is not about reaching a certain revenue or having a big team. This was the mistake I felt is I felt that it was, well, when I reach my first 10K month, or when I have a six-figure year, or when I'm multi six figures, or when I have this many clients, or when I have like, there's always something I had to wait to get to in order to feel like I was the CEO in my company and I was the CEO in my business, or even calling it a company, calling it a business instead of just like, well, I do this thing. And that is the truth is that we don't have to wait to a certain amount of number or even a certain size of a team member. It's about a conscious choice to lead your business with intention and authority starting today. You can be a CEO with a team of one. You can be a CEO with having a revenue under $100,000 a year. And you can be a CEO with a team of 50 or 80 and having seven figures, multi seven figures a year. There's not a hard and fast rule about what qualifies you as a CEO. So what we're going to talk about in today's episode is what exactly is the shift you need to make to step into true CEO energy, and what is a framework that will help you make that choice to sticking into your daily decisions and the business decisions that you make and how you show up. This is so impactful. So I want to talk about the choice you're already making and what you don't realize that you're already doing. And this is something that I just had no idea I just was not aware of this. And part of the podcast mission for actually the podcast is to bring awareness around things that we just don't even know we're doing or we haven't been aware of. And when this concept came to me, it was so game changer because it showed me that I was already making a choice and didn't realize it. So every single day, you're choosing how to show up in your business. You absolutely are. You choose how you show up. You choose how you show up in every area of your life. But obviously, today we're talking business. So how are you choosing to show up in your business? You're either choosing to show up with CEO mindset and energy, or you're choosing victim energy, or you're choosing playing small energy. You're choosing I have to do everything energy. You're choosing a to-do list and reactive, or you're choosing proactive. You get to choose every day how you show up. Are you choosing to lead your business, or are you choosing to let your business lead you? Meaning, what does that mean? Okay, because I feel like that really had to be clarified for me. When I choose to lead my business, I am making an intentional plan of action. I'm saying, this is what I'm going to do. When I do this action, I believe this result will happen. If I don't get the results, this is how I will show up and do it again, and what I will change, what I will evaluate. Or am I sitting down every day and reacting to my to-do list? Am I reacting to my clients' needs and like their chaos? Am I reacting to, oh, I don't have money in my bank account, I have to make a sale, I have to figure out what I'm doing, or that person said no, or this person canceled, and I'm just reacting to all of the business and what's happening that day? Or am I intentionally setting up and leading the business and saying, this is where we're going, this is the actions we're going to do? Because the truth is, there's no neutral in business. Every decision either expands your authority or contracts it. Every decision that you make, every choice you make is taking you to a next step, or it's causing you to spin your wheels. So I want you to shift into like the choice of, I can choose just to be a solo entrepreneur that is more victim based and more frustration, hopeful based, or you can step into an empowered CEO, meaning this is the difference. I don't know what I'm doing. I hope this works. I'm not qualified. I can't charge that much. What will people think? All the questions and fear based reactions and vulnerable based reactions. Or I can choose, I'm learning as I go. I make strategic decisions. I'm becoming more qualified daily. I am value based pricing. I lead with my vision. There is such a shift in just how you view your own self and how you view the business as a whole and what's happening in your business. Because when you start to get that energy of, well, I'm just trying to figure things out, I'm just trying all the things, I'm looking for the answers, and just, not qualified and trying to make a sale and thinking about just one sale at a time, we're starting to choose small. And we're choosing these hidden costs of choosing small. Because when we start to act like that, we are underpricing because we don't see ourselves value enough. We're reacting because, well, no one buys, so I must lower my prices. Or we're over delivering to prove our worth. So instead of just saying, hey, this is what you hired me for, this is what the package looks like, we over deliver to make sure that they're seeing our worth, and we're over proving that promised value. We also look for validation from clients or from sales instead of leading with confidence. If you don't get a sale, does that mean you are not good? If you don't see a sale this week, does that mean you're a failure? Like, if we're allowing the reactions of others, whether it's say yes to the business, say yes to the buy, or maybe a client giving you that personal validation, does that really make a difference in you as far as like whether or not you have confidence or you don't have confidence? If you're making decisions based on off of fear of judgment versus what's best for your business growth, that is also playing small. And staying stuck in the same revenue after year and not changing anything, not shifting anything, is going to keep you stuck. And this is definitely the trap I fell into for many years. Is I was so reactive in my businesses and saying, well, I have to make money. And then I would just go off on anything that I thought could potentially make me $20. And chasing the $20 caused me to slow down growth so much. And I was overvaluing the reactions and the seeking over the decisions and the confidence and the proactive planning than the reactive. And that's how I got into some major burnouts and exhaustion and frustration. And it's really a moment every entrepreneur comes to. We start out with just a little bit of that spaghetti at the wall, and I'm figuring things out, but living there and staying there is where you don't want to be. We want you to come to a point where you decide to stop apologizing for taking up the space, for having the business, and choose your authority. And that's what I want to talk about today, is how do you choose to stand up and have authority in your business and authority over yourself in the business? Because the buck stops with you. The buck stops with you as the person who started the business, the entrepreneur, the business owner, however yourself at the moment, is you get to make the CEO choice. So what is this CEO choice? What is the thing I want to choose to be the person who finds the answer, to be the leader? It's not about being perfect. It's about being truly in a place where you're driving the business forward with intentionality and confidence and commitment. And that's the first one of the daily, I would call it the daily, weekly CEO, empowered CEO choices that we want to do is number one, we want to commit. So commitment. I choose to be all in on my vision, not half committed and not constantly second guessing myself. It is really hard some days as a business owner, entrepreneur to not second guess yourself because it's like, oh, it's not working. So maybe it just, is this even what it's right for me? And I'm honest, like this thought comes up still, and I'm not perfect in it. It's it's a daily choice some days, sometimes hourly, sometimes morning to afternoon changes. Is am I committed? Am I all in on this? Am I believing that it's worth showing up for? Am I going to invest in it? Not just obviously, there's investments for money, it's investment of time, it's an investment in my energy. If I'm not committed fully and I'm second guessing myself all the time, it's hard to be all in on your vision. And you will slow it down unintentionally when the commitment is not there. So asking yourself, am I committed and how do I stay committed to this? And will I still be committed to this business 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now? This is why we don't want to work with women. This is why in Empowered for More, we want to work with you for a minimum of 6 months, because when you commit to 6 months of working in your business and growth and getting the support, we know you're truly committed. And that's part of the commitment requirement we want to get from our people who work with us, because we want to be committed to you and all in. But if you're not all in, you're not going to see the results that are possible for you in our program. So that's why we made it intentionally to be half of a year of action together, because 6 months is just a blink in time when it comes to business level investment and growth. So, are you committed? And then the next one is intentionality. I choose to make strategic decisions based on my goals and values, not just reaction to whatever feels urgent. Oh, this one is so good. And in a lot of my workshops, I talk about the difference between a to-do list and your priorities and your profit priorities and knowing those. Because when you are intentional about strategic decisions based off of your goals and your values, you're not going to just be all over the place. It will stop you from throwing spaghetti at the wall because you're not reacting to the urgency. You're reacting to intentionality and really proactive action instead of reactive. That is a huge shift for CEOs. So, how can you be committed to being all in? How can you get intentional with your decisions based off of your goals and values? The next one, number three, is self awareness. And my friends, this is the number one quality, in my opinion, that sets the women who are having success apart from others who are struggling, is when we are self aware and we honestly assess your strengths, your gaps, the growth opportunities instead of avoiding uncomfortable truths. It is extremely uncomfortable for me to look at it and say, hey, I'm the bottleneck here. I'm the problem. My choices and my gaps and my weaknesses are causing our business not to grow. And when I see things shift in our income or in productivity or in results, stopping with self awareness to say, okay, what is it that I'm doing or not doing, and honestly assess it and not blame it on the algorithm. I can't blame it on my team. I can't blame it on my clients. Well, they just weren't great clients. I have to start with me and have that honest conversation. And Yes, you can have a coach who can help you walk through that. But let me tell you, my friends, it is so much more impactful when you start with your own self-awareness evaluation and then come to the table and have that conversation with a supportive person like a therapist or a coach or a strategist, anybody, and saying, like, I've already thought about this. I see this. Now, how do I get the support I need? Because processing those truths are not comfortable. And if you are willing to do that on your own, you're going to get so much more results with your supportive people, your mentors, your coaches, your team, all of it. So self awareness is so powerful. Then understanding and choosing understanding is the fourth one, where you go deeper. I'm going to choose to go deeper into my market, my clients, my business, my values, instead of guessing and hoping, and understanding your data. So, really understanding the data of your people, your market, your product, your value, instead of hoping that you're priced right, instead of guessing if this is going to work. How can you be more confident in your understanding and in your processing of the data to be able to leverage that in your business and taking the time? I am shocked often and also call myself honest because I was not doing this up until 2017. We don't have SOPs. We don't have an understanding of our processes in our business, where we're doing things, what is driving the results, what has gotten us results in the past, what has shifted in our market. There's so many things that we're just not understanding. So we just keep doing, hoping something will work again or will start working. And we have no way of tracking and saying, I'm looking at the business from this place of looking over the overview from a bird's eye level instead of from in the weeds and trying to just swim my way out. So if you've been feeling that way of like, I've just been feeling like I'm stuck in the weeds and I don't know where to go, you need to get into the bird's eye view. And that's what a CEO does. That's why they're on the top floor, because they want to look down and say, I see the business as a whole. I see what's the market, my clients, my value, our expertise, what's changing, what hasn't worked. I'm looking at all the data and I'm using that to drive the actions and the process and the next steps instead of guessing and hoping. And then the last one is really diving into authority. You are a leader. If you open a business, I don't care if you're a team of one and you do everything, or you are somebody who has a team of 12, you are a leader and it's time to lead with confidence and ownership, even when you're still learning and growing. You have to lead yourself. That's the first one. You can be the authority in your own business and lead yourself. Lead with confidence. Say, I'm choosing to show up with authority and say, I'm learning and growing and I'm taking ownership for what I'm doing right now because I know the impact of this choice. And when we, as a leader, show up with authority and show up with confidence, it stands out and it doesn't allow you to play small. It doesn't, because you are saying, hey, even though I'm in a learning and growing stage, I know that I'm confident with this, where we're going, and I am leading very boldly there. So let me give you some shifts in just like the language that you maybe have been using in the old way as solopreneur, DIY. I call you the Google search bar ninjas, where you are Googling all the things, or maybe now you're using Chat GPT to tell you all the answers in your business, which Chat's awesome. But if you are relying on him to lead you, it's not a good thing. So maybe you've been saying, I'm trying to build a business here. Okay. Switch it just to, I'm committed to building a business that fill in the blank. Instead of I'm trying, I'm committed. Here's another shift. I hope people will pay me. I hope I can find my clients. I'm struggling to find my clients. I'm wishing I could find my clients. Instead of I intentionally serve clients who value transformation. I intentionally serve people who are excited about that. Don't hope, we're intentional. And we are going to show up and just keep making and working the plan until the results are flooding you the way you want to. Instead of saying, I don't know if I'm qualified, it's to shift it to, I understand my zone of genius and I'm the right person for this. And if I'm not qualified, why are you doing this? And how do I become qualified? Instead of saying, I'm just starting out, go into, I'm building something significant. You're in building phase. It's such a shift. So, how can you get this CEO skills into action, this CEO shift into action? It starts with a commitment. A committed CEO doesn't have plan B energy. They're not, quote unquote, trying to build the business. They're building it with full commitment while staying flexible in the how and learning from the data. They're intentionally showing up. Every action has a purpose. The empowered CEOs don't just post content everywhere, they intentionally share the moves with their audience with a specific result. They're doing the work behind the market research, behind the strategy. They're building in that intentionality. There's self awareness, an honest assessment of what's working and what's not, whether it's what's their strengths, their blind spots, their team strengths, the team blind spots, and they make decisions from that clarity. Understanding, they invest time in deeply knowing their market and their clients' real problems and their unique position in the marketplace. It's not just assumptions. And then the choices, the daily practice of every morning. I want you to, before you open your laptop, what would the CEO of this business do today? Be that person, not someday, not when you have a team, but today. If a CEO came down that you respected, what would they say and think about your business? What would they intentionally do for you to say, okay, this is how we're going to show up. This is how we're going to be intentional and how we're going to make an impact. So I want to give you some CEO skills practice actions that you can do because it's something that we're constantly working on. This isn't something you suddenly arrive at because you made six figures. It's not something that changes once you've got a team of two or three. It's something you have to practice and develop and learn and commit to. So, for instance, I want you to start out with every week. What am I fully committed to this week? What are the main things that I am taking action on? What am I committed to seeing results in? And start with commitment because if it doesn't happen by Wednesday, are you still going to keep taking action on it on Thursday and Friday? What are you committed to this week? Second one is intentionality audit. Is this action moving me forward towards my goals or keeping me busy? I call this an expansion audit. Actually, this is something I love doing with my clients, and I did it for myself. I still do it for myself every year, a couple times in the year, is to really say, is all of the things that I'm doing in my business doing anything for me, or is it just keeping my calendar full? Oh, this is so powerful. So, can you do an audit? And I know audit is a scary word because you think of the IRS. This is not that. This is an audit of your to do list and your actions that you've been doing, and even your team, and saying, is this moving me towards the goal or is it keeping me busy? Because, man, I know in business we can be really busy going nowhere. Self-awareness moment. What pattern am I noticing in my business or my decisions that is causing me to not go forward in my business? So it's like looking at your own self-awareness. Is there some patterns that keep coming up? I'll give you an example for me personally. I noticed some patterns in my own business of my team waiting for me to give them something or approval. And I was just constantly feeling behind. They're trying to support me, but they can't because I am not making those decisions the way that need to be made and communicating them to them so that they can be empowered to do what they need to do, which is then bottlenecking the business if I don't change that. So noticing, oh, I need to get ahead. I need to have a clearer plan so that they can execute instead of being reactive, and I'm slowing down the impact that's potential because I keep doing the same pattern. So self-awareness is so powerful. And then the understanding about what do I need to learn more about, like what is the learning exercises that I need or the tools that I need to implement in order to do more in the business. you are making that choice and you're practicing those skills. You're developing the choices. You're saying, hey, here's how I'm doing that. Self-awareness, self-evaluation, so important. So this shift is game changer because when you are an empowered CEO, it isn't about what you've accomplished or how big your business is. It's about the choice you make every single day to lead your business with intention, authority, and vision. And my friend, you do not have to wait for permission. You don't have to wait until you feel ready. You just have to start choosing. And the more you choose to show up as the empowered CEO, the more you shift into that being your normal instead of being playing small and feeling like, oh, everything's a victim, blah, 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 all the things. Okay. Confidence comes from making confident choices, not before making them. And that this is the truth. I was waiting for confidence until everything was perfect, until I had six figures, till I had 10K months, what I'll fill in the blank. But the confidence actually came from making choices and evaluation and making choices again and being committed and making choices again and saying, I'm going to show up and being intentional and continuing that pattern. And it becomes more natural and it doesn't come from a certain number. So the shift can happen the moment you decide to stop waiting for things to be perfect, waiting for things to work the way you think they should be working, and start leading and start being intentional. Right now, you are at a choice point. You can finish this episode and go back to operating from small thinking, or you can choose to make a shift today. What are you going to choose? So for the next week, I want you just to start thinking about what are some CEO skills and CEO shifts that I want to start making in my business. Can I start with commitment, making every decision from how do I make this work instead of should I try this? Should I make, you know what I mean? Saying, how does this work for my business? Is this the right action for my business? Intentionality. Before taking any action, does this serve my strategic goals or am I staying busy? So when we're intentional, we're saying, okay, did this work for me? Has it been working for me? Will I do it the same or will I change it? Or will I stop doing it altogether? Being very intentional. So committed, I made the decision. I'm going to show up for myself. Intentional, does this serve me or am I just busy? Self-awareness. Notice your patterns. What triggers you to make the decisions from fear versus strategy? What is bottlenecking because you are not taking the action? And then understanding. Do you understand your business in a full picture? Do you see all the pieces? Do you know how your client journey is and what this means? Like the amount of times I am shocked, even some days for myself, it's like, oh, I totally didn't realize this was happening in my own business, or this was a pattern, or this was a gap, because I'm not taking the time to get that bird's eye view from the CEO standpoint and understand all of the business interacting. Make a map of your business. One of the things we offer and Empowered for More. And then also I have some spots available for the summer to do this. I love doing these during the summer is I'll do an intensive business mapping call where we do a map out of all of your business pieces and how they all work together and where are those gaps. Have you spent any time looking at your market flow to your client lead generation, to your conversion rate, to your service, to the repeated business, etc.? All the back end understanding of all of those pieces. When's the last time you looked at that? Can you look at it? Start to map it out because that authority and understanding of your own business is going to be game changer for the results that you create with the actions you take. And it is a big, powerful shift. It is not that far away. And you don't have to wait until you have 9,000 clients until you are making $7 million or whatever standard you're putting in your head for yourself. Don't wait until you launch. Don't wait until you hit that revenue goal. Don't wait until Monday. Shift into this empowered CEO now with your very next business decision or action. And what choices will you make for yourself? This is my challenge to you today is how do you shift into being an empowered CEO instead of a business owner who's doing this little thing on the side. It's not little. And it doesn't, even if it started out small or you're still in the beginning phases, that is not where it's staying. Stop treating it like it's going to live as a baby forever. You got this. Keep showing up for yourself. Keep taking action. And if you're interested in hearing more about how we map out business strategies, how we make you see all the pieces of your business and have a clear picture and understanding of your business, drop me a DM or book a call, LaniJackson.com/let's talk, or DM me on Facebook or Instagram and just say empowered CEO and I'll know what you mean. I'll talk to you soon, my friend. Thanks for letting us hang out for a little bit in your earbuds, and we'll see you next week on another episode. Thanks for actually joining us today. I hope it inspired you to actually take the action to step into the empowered CEO that you are and getting more of the results that you want. Before you go, I have a quick favor. Leave us a review and take a screenshot of this episode and share it with your friends and on your favorite social media channels. Don't forget to tag us, the podcast, and Lani J. Jackson. And we'll see you next week on another episode.